Hey everyone, I'm Ashley and welcome to yoga today. Today, Yusuf and I are going to run through Sun Salutation B. You won't need any props, so let's meet at the top of the mat. So I'll have you get started in mountain pose.
Okay. Here we go.
And then with your inhale, I'll have you go to chair pose.
Okay.
So chair pose, you want to make sure that your bottom is tucked in. So like, for example, for this, it's kind of pointing out, but you can tuck your tailbone in. So you want to make sure that that is tucked in and
Okay.
not sticking out.
All right.
You want to make sure that you can still see your big toes. So if you can't see your big toes, you want to shift your weight back more. And then you want your core always engaged, so your belly button is sucked in and up. And then traditionally your gaze is facing up.
Ooh, it's a fun one.
Yeah. So like your knees are together right now, that's fine. You can also option to have your feet farther apart, like shoulder width.
Okay.
That's what I prefer.
All right.
But you don't have to. You're fine. You didn't have to move.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So we're inhaling to chair pose, then exhale, fall forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, jump or step back. Cycling through Chaturanga on that exhale. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then inhale, we're going to bring that right leg to the top of the mat.
Okay.
Inhale up, warrior one. So left foot is planted down at about
All right.
35 degrees. So the inhale brings your arms up. Right knee you want bent.
Okay.
So you want that directly underneath your ankle. You want to actively push out with your thigh because it tends to fall inward. So a good way to check this out is if you can still see your big toe.
So if I can see my big toe, then I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Core is engaged. Traditionally, you are looking up towards the sky. And then you want to make sure that like your pinky toe is planted.
Okay.
Okay.
I can feel this one really good right there.
Yeah.
At least for myself, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So traditionally, you just hold this for one breath. I'm just walking through it really slow. And then exhale, we're going to put our hands down to the top of the mat and cycle through our Chaturanga.
Okay.
Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, push back to downward facing dog. Inhale, we're going to bring that left foot to the top of the mat now. Inhaling for warrior one. Again, same thing, making sure that our knee is directly above our ankle, that we can still see our big toe. Core is engaged. Back foot is engaged. There might be a micro bend to your back leg. Don't feel like you have to lock it out. Don't ever feel like you have to lock anything out in yoga. Again, making sure that back right toe is planted. And again, traditionally your gaze is up towards the sky. If you don't like that, gaze can be forward. Just pick a spot.
I prefer forward.
Yeah. And then exhale, hands to the top of the mat and run through Chaturanga, whatever that looks like. That can be knees, chest, chin as well. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And now we get to rest in downward facing dog. So again, we want to make sure that our weight is planted evenly towards our index and our thumb finger. Our neck is nice and long, which is good. Our sit bones are the highest point of our pose. And then again, like your knees, that's perfect to get them, like they don't have to be locked out. They don't have to be straight. You can bend them as much as you want. Traditionally, your gaze is at your navel. That can be pretty strenuous for your eyeballs. So also a good place to look is like right between your toes. So So whenever you get to 5 breaths, go ahead and look at the top of the mat. Jump, step, float, or hop. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. And then you'll inhale, rise your arms up, and you're going to finish in chair pose. Exhale, mountain. So that is 1 round
All right.
of Sun Salutation B. So it moves pretty quick. We're breaking it down very slowly right now, but each pose is 1 breath. So you're continually moving. So it's a great way to warm up your body, warm up that heart rate.
It's going. Yeah.
Like even after just 1 round, like your heart will be pumping really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll get hot pretty quickly.
Some questions that came up through that. When I come up for the warrior pose, if I can just get in it real quick, whenever I'm like this, at least when I got up, I could feel, I know I can feel it right here in kind of like my calf Achilles area, but it was intense. Like I did not want to hold it for much longer. Is there, like, I wanted to just kind of adjust.
You can shorten your stance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the shortening stance, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah. And then I forgot to do this, put your hands up. You always want to make sure that your hips are squared. Whatever foot is forward, it's easy for that hip to come forward. So right now your left foot is forward, so it's easy for your left hip to come forward and then your right hip to come back, but we don't want that. We want them to always be aligned and square.
Okay. And then the positioning of my back foot, is it more like at a 45-degree angle this way?
It's more like a 35-degree angle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So a partial twist.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. I think I'm ready to go through a round.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so we'll start at mountain pose. We're going to inhale to chair. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, jump back or step back to Chaturanga. Okay. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Inhale, we're going to bring that right foot up to the top of the mat. The inhale brings our arms up to warrior 1. Exhale, bring your arms back down to the top of the mat. Step that right foot back, cycling through Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Inhale brings that left foot up to the top of the mat. Right foot grounds down. Good. Exhale, bring your hands down to the top of the mat. Step the left foot back. Cycle through Chaturanga. Inhale. Exhale, push back to downward facing dog. And we're going to hold here for 5 breaths. Also, so your Chaturanga, you can switch up the variation from cycle to cycle. Let's say you choose to do the traditional full Chaturanga the first cycle, but you're on cycle 5 and that's really hard. You don't have it in you anymore to do that. Drop down to knees, chest, chin. Don't feel like you have to do it one way just because you picked that at the very beginning. That goes for any pose. You can always switch up your variation. Don't feel like you have to stick to one. Okay, whenever you get to 5, go ahead and go up to the top of the mat, however you want to do that. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, Tadasana.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I wanted to bring up, or at least mention, in our previous videos, we went over downward facing dog, and you had mentioned before that that's kind of a resting position, and in those videos, I kind of explained that that does not feel like a resting position to me.
Yeah.
However, now after doing all of that in Sun Salutation B, I definitely understand why downward facing dog is a resting position. I kind of needed those 5 breaths to kind of catch up and slow that breathing down a little bit. So I kind of see why it's a resting position.
It is
now.
a moment to rest and breathe and slow down that heart rate a little bit. Yeah.
It's going.
It's a good time to do that audible exhale, like when teachers are like, go, like that is a perfect moment to get all of that extra energy out. That's really helpful. Also, I just wanted to go through Chaturanga one more time. You might notice, like I've noticed sometimes with you, so you want to make sure that, well, one, you want to go forward, but you want to make sure when you're going down that your whole body is moving as one. So it's like a straight line going down. So what you want to make sure not to do, you want to make sure that you're not just dropping your hips down and going like that. I know that happens sometimes with you, so which is common, that's fine. But if you feel like that's happening, that tells me that your arm strength isn't there yet to move as one. And so I would encourage you to drop down to knees, chest, chin, and then move forward. And then another way that you might do it that is incorrect, it's kind of the opposite. Instead of dropping your hips, you might drop your chest and keep your butt up and then move your butt down. You also don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that your body is like a plank and it's moving down together. And if you feel like that can't happen yet, that's totally okay. Do knees, chest, chin. That's going to be an easier variation for sure.
Okay.
I'm out of breath just doing that.
I want to do it again, keeping in mind on coming down from my Chaturanga, and also I want to try the how did you describe it? When you're breathing out but more vocal.
Oh yeah, audible exhale.
An audible exhale, yeah. So I want to try that too.
Yeah.
All right.
I can guide you through that when you get there.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So we're at mountain pose. We're going to inhale to chair. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, jump or step back, cycling through Chaturanga. Good. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, we're going to bring that right foot to the top of the mat. Inhale brings our arms up. Exhale, cycle our arms back to the top of the mat. Right foot meets the left. Exhale, cycle through Chaturanga. Good, that looks much better. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, push back down dog. Inhale brings that left foot to the top of the mat, grounding that right foot, inhaling arms up. Exhale, hands to the top of the mat, left foot meets the right. Exhale, Chaturanga. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, downward facing dog, and to rest. So for here, you can do a nice inhale and then audible exhale. Let's do that one more time. So that should feel really nice. I love doing that. It's actually one of my favorite moments. Just releasing all of that breath and built up heat. Good, and whenever you reach 5 breaths, I think that was 5. Jump, float, step, or hop. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, come up, chair pose. Exhale to mountain pose. Good.
Oof,
How did
yeah.
that feel?
That's good. I couldn't tell if it's because I was warmed up that time, but I think I was really mindful of my breathing that time. I know that's not necessarily what we're focusing on, but I was trying to make sure that I was inhaling and exhaling when I was supposed to, and I felt like it just flowed a lot better when you incorporate all that breathing in, for sure.
Yeah.
I felt like that was my best one I've ever done.
Nice.
So,
yeah. No, you'll notice, like we talked about in previous episodes, like your breath is kind of like learning how to drive a stick, and like until you get all of that matched up, driving a stick is like very jerky and a lot of concentration, and it's just not like, it doesn't flow. Yeah. So once all of that aligns, you will see that your practice starts to get easier. Yeah. Like the inhale helps you rise up, and like the exhale will help you fall forward.
Yeah.
Just natural, like gravity. Yeah. Are you down to run through it one more time?
One more, yeah, let's do it.
And then I felt like your chaturangas were way better this time.
Yeah, I was kind of mindful. Mindful of that.
Yeah, they moved as one.
Perfect. Yeah. Cool. All right. One more time. Here we go.
Okay. We're going to inhale, chair pose. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, jump or step back to your chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, bring that right foot to the top of the mat, planting that left foot. Arms come up overhead. Good. Exhale, bring the arms back down to the top of the mat. Right foot meets the left, and exhale, cycle through chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot to the top of the mat. Right foot plants down. Inhaling, arms up, warrior one. Inhale, cycle those arms back to the top of the mat. Left foot steps back to meet the right. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And I'm going to have you try something. You don't have to try this at home, but you can just listen or watch. I'm going to have you just see what it feels like to bring the blocks underneath your hand. That's just going to bring the earth closer to you, and it should help provide more space for your spine.
It feels a lot better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's also a variation of downward facing dog. Because I know for you it's been trouble to get this spine straight and to not be rounded. So if that is an issue for you too, try it out with blocks. All it does is raise the ground closer to you, so you're not stretching so far, which is where you get that rounded back, as if you're overextending yourself. Okay, I have no idea how many breaths you're on, but when you reach 5, go ahead and go to the top of the mat, remove the blocks. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fall forward. Inhale, rise up to chair. Exhale, mountain.
Yeah, that's good.
Tired yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah, so Sun Salutation A and B, generally teachers will use it at the very beginning of class. I come from Ashtanga background, so traditionally that's what you do every time. You do 5 Sun Salutation A, and then 5 Sun Salutation B, and then you go into the practice. Ashtanga is always the same no matter what. It's like a built-in sequence, so it's different from Vinyasa, but it's still integrated into Vinyasa classes as a warm-up and a way to connect sequences together. So I feel like once you know your Sun Salutations, you have a pretty good grasp of what's going on.
Yeah. We got A, we got B now. Our first video went over downward facing dog, and cat cow, and neutral position.
Yeah.
And I
forward fold and halfway lift.
And forward fold and halfway lift. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we're ready for a full practice with all of those
Yeah.
moves
I'm
incorporated.
going to create a sequence next week that incorporates everything that we've learned for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited.
So
Ready.
get ready.
Yes.
It's going to be tiring.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Bye.